All right, guys, we have a lot of work ahead of us. What's up, guys? My name is Phil. Welcome back to Miranda Detailing. In today's video, we are finally putting in our Racedeck flooring. So guys, I'm really excited about getting this flooring in. It's new to me, so I will be learning things along the way, giving you some pros and cons to this flooring and the installation as well. I already know that I made one little mistake that we'll talk about later in the video. Hopefully it won't be a big deal, but it means I have to be very precise about cutting around the edges. But guys, the Racedeck tiles here you can purchase at Car Supply's warehouse now. They come in a variety of colors, and you can also get either the diamond plate, the Swiss track style, where the water can flow through. I chose the diamond plate version. I want a nice flat floor, and there were some things that I was concerned about that, again, we'll talk about throughout the video. So let's just give you a quick little tour of the garage before we start laying down the floor, and I'll give you some tips and tricks along the way. Guys, if you're enjoying videos like this, and I hope you are, consider subscribing and clicking that bell so you don't miss stuff. Let's get started. Okay, guys, so I started already clearing things out and just doing a sweep of the floor. Now, I already washed this floor, but that's not necessary to do for this tile, because you just lay it down, click it in place, that's it. So don't worry about that. That's one of the reasons why I didn't choose to go with the epoxy, is because I was a little unsure of its installation and if it was going to peel up or give me any problems. So even though that was the cheaper route, this is definitely a little bit more pricey. This will last longer and look nicer, and I won't run into any problems with hot tire pickup or anything like that. Now let's take a look at the tiles themselves. They do come in these large boxes here, and they actually come, if you getting them in bulk, already kind of put together in 4-foot squares, which is really nice. Now again, I chose the diamond plate, and you might be thinking, yeah, but what about your wheelie stool going over it? Look how flat these are. These aren't really raised that much, so not a problem at all. Everything will be able to go across it very easily. I wanted something that I could sweep and mop and keep clean, and I think this is it. Now, the colors I chose, I have blue. I also have, oh, this is a whole box of blue, I guess. I have a box of gray over here, and I also have black. So, I'm going to show you how we design this. You can actually design it on the Racedeck website, or Car Supply's warehouse will also have an Excel form that you can also design your floor. So I did both. I designed it on the Racedeck website, and I also used the Excel form that they made for the garage. So measured everything, and I did measure just beyond. So say, for instance, if the garage was, I believe it's 27 feet or 27 and a half, I round up. And if you want, you can actually round a little further up, +1. Just in case you cut a tile incorrectly, you're going to have extra tiles. So who knows if you're going to run into those problems or not. I did make the mistake of just ordering the rounded up version. I didn't order any extra tiles. So hopefully we won't run into any problems.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I know. It's all torn apart. Are you confused? Yep, I know.
So what we're going to do is not worry about taking everything out, because what we're going to do is start in the front here first. So we have the little lip here, and we're trying to decide if this should go outside of the door, within the door. We'll figure that out, and we'll start laying down the tile here, and then also laying it across here. And we're going to square it off, make sure it's nice and straight, and then go from there and build the whole floor all the way out. Now this area will be kind of tricky, but once this main floor is laid, we're going to pull that stuff out and work on some things behind there. So guys, very excited about getting this together. So let's put it on a time lapse, and you'll see us start to put things together, and I'll explain things along the way. Okay guys, now we're preparing the floor here and getting things in order, because once we start dropping the tiles, it should go pretty quickly once we have everything lined up. So here's the pattern that we're following. So this one I built off of the Excel form from Car Supply's warehouse. It was actually really easy to build here, because you can just start from one corner and get all of your dimensions set perfectly, and then you can design your tiles, all the colors, everything. So this is the format that we're going by. So basically, the way the garage is now this way, It's going to start like this. Big blue and black tiles in the main part, and then black and gray tiles towards the back. So guys, here's the pattern. You can see it starting to come alive here. We have a 2-foot border around the left and right, and it goes around the back there. And in the center, I think I did the math right and the design right, so that we have 3 by 3 foot square alternating black and blue checkerboard. So that'll be the main floor. So here's what we're doing first, and what I've seen a lot of guys do, is you start in a corner here and you go down one corner and you go down the front of your garage. This is very important. You need to lay this strip down and make sure that it's aligned where you want it. Still undecided if we're going to have it behind the door, where the door comes down, or right at the door, or in front of it. I'm not sure yet. It all depends on how these lay out. But right now, look at that. I think once we get to this edge here, we'll have maybe an inch or two to spare. So when you see that, you decide what you want to do. Do you want to pull it all the way this way? Do we want to pull it all the way to that corner and go from there? Make our cuts under there where it's not going to be as noticeable. Because here, you might notice a little bit more here. And I will paint this cinder block at some point. I'll paint it all white so it blends in really nice. But that's working out really, really well. So that's what we're doing. So it does come in the 2-foot square section, so we're going to have to break them apart and then put them into the 3-foot squares. But that's working really well. So with your mallet, get a rubber mallet and put them into place here. We're going to show you how they interlock. So I'm almost done building this section here. And I kind of start at the angle here because they do go into these little loops. And I'll start at one end. And they'll snap into place. You'll hear them and you'll see them pull together. There we go. Now to pull these apart, it is a little scary, but if you go this way, pull in, right? Was it in or the other way? Was it this way?
Yeah, it's just like that, right?
There we go. Then it breaks apart. It's a little scary at first, but they will come apart. There we go. And we're also making sure to align the loops here where they connect. So there's one side here that has these connectors and these two sides here that have these loop connectors. What we're doing is we're starting in the corner over there with these flat to the wall and working diagonally across this way. So all one direction. And then when you get to the edge, then you can start to do your cuts. But do all of the middle floor first and align everything the way that you want it. So guys, it's coming together. Well, here's the first mistake I made. This was supposed to go all the way to the end here, so I miscalculated by about 1.5 feet, almost 2 feet. So that's on me. But I think it should be okay. I should be able to just go up to there, and the flooring just might end here for a while. I might just have to order some more later on, but I can do that. It'll just be under this stuff here. But I'm more concerned about getting all of this done. But look how nice it's looking. So I'm working on the edge here. We're going to get this edge all across, and I think what we've decided to do is it is just, yeah, it looks like the edge here of the blue is going to come down right where the door is. So this will stick out just a little bit. But I think that will be fine. Unless, what would we do, Dad, if we did push it all the way to the end there and took up those inches? Would it pull this so that this black is right underneath the door? Like three inches, I think.
Yeah, we'll be able to move it one way or another.
Okay, all right, cool. So we're gonna continue snapping all these together. It goes pretty quick once we get a pattern going. Ah, broken one. Really?
Yeah, because it was, you gotta be careful about these little nipples sticking out.
Ah.
They're not underneath.
Yep.
It will crack it.
Okay, well, we'll just remove that one tile, I guess, and that might be one that we can cut around an edge or something.
Yeah.
So guys, it's coming together. Now, here's where I made the mistake. Totally my fault. I miscalculated, and this was supposed to be about 21 feet all the way across. And yep, I definitely miscalculated. So I believe I only ordered about 19 feet across, but that's all right. I'll probably order these later. Not a big deal, but it is looking awesome. It's all the way up, butted against the corner there. There's only a little tiny gap here, but I'm not really worried about that. So if you want to put something in there, that's up to you. But here's where now the next color blocking is going to go, in here. So I'm going to go probably starting from one of these corners here and go out all the way to the edge. And yeah, I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do as far as this, if I will bring this out and tile under it. Not quite sure because I might be short on tiles. But that's okay. The main floor is done, and I'll just add more as I need it. But check it out, guys. What do you think? The nice, large 3 by 3 foot, a yard checkerboard. I think it looks really, really nice. I'm loving the look of it. It looks awesome. So it's come together pretty good. We did make a few little mistakes along the way, and there's a few things here too that you'll see. These are lifted up, and you just need to go back through and stomp them down. Make sure that they're clicked into place. But you see them. They kind of stick out like a sore thumb, so that's all right. Once everything is down, you can go back over it and step on it. But this feels really good. Love having a solid floor like this. It's beautiful. Not bad, guys. It is really coming along. I'm super excited for this. So let's continue putting the floor over here together. All right, guys, we, wow, are almost done here. So here's what we're going to do. Since we're short on some tiles here all the way to the end of the wall here, we changed our minds with over here. So instead of taking the counter out and wasting tiles underneath there, we're going to go right up to the counter and underneath it, underneath the slop sink. That's stationary. That doesn't move. That's actually bolted to the wall behind it. This I might put flooring underneath, but again, I'm not worried. This is where all the, house heating stuff is. So not too concerned about that area right there. I am concerned about getting it underneath those portions, and not too concerned about there. I'll leave, a gap in the wall there. So it's probably about 4 inches that I'm going to leave there, but all that stuff, extra storage, extra bins of things go under there anyway for storage. But same here, I have storage here. But from here, I'm going to go all the way up to the cabinet here. I will work all along the wall. So that will all be buttoned up and look nice. The door here all buttoned up. So I think we might have enough tiles. I might just have to order maybe a few or maybe not at all. Who knows? But overall, looking really nice. And we only broke a few little knobs off the ends of the tiles, but that's okay. I'm going to put them under there hidden. The rest of these look perfect. But look at this, guys. It is looking incredible. And not too worried about here. I might order more tiles and put stuff there, but not too concerned about it. Things are going to be always over here anyway, blocking all of that. But I'm loving these tiles. This was a great investment. So when it comes to cutting them Now we're on to the cutting stage. We have the table saw, we have a jigsaw, and you can also cut them with a really sharp razor blade. So definitely use gloves for that because I already cut myself the other day. Unrelated to the tiles, but yeah. So here we go, guys. We're going to be installing that little piece there. Ah, perfect. Nice. All right. So we'll just keep doing that along this route here. So guys, here's the challenging part. It's going to take you the longest, is working around all these things if you have these in your garage. So, yep, that can be a challenge. Cutting around here is a little bit of a challenge. I kept this in here on purpose because I bolted everything to it. So I'm not going to mess with all this shelving and change the height dimensions. So I'll work around it because it's staying here permanently. But that's looking really good. I'm not worried about getting all of this all the way to the wall here. This will be covered. That will be covered. But at least get these pieces in here. And then those will all be cut along the wall. So make sure to have a jigsaw or a table saw if you're going to do this and you need to make a lot of cuts. The jigsaw does help with notching around things. You can cut it with the razor blade, but that gets problematic. So much better to have a jigsaw, one of those cool vibrating tool things. Wish I had one of those. But I think we're going to do okay with tiles. Look how many I have left over. With some adjustments that we made, I think we're going to do really, really well. I may not need to order anything. We'll see. It is now 6 p.m. We started this I think around 3 o'clock, so 3 hours. Not too bad at all. And of course that's with 2 of us working on it. So if it's just you alone working on this size garage with cuts and things to make, you know, it might take you a full day. But really, that's not bad. Once it's all done, you're done. All right, guys, the floor is pretty much done. Now there's a few things to do around the counter and the slop sink area. I may get to that today, but I might leave that for another video to show how that is all finished out. But the majority of the floor is now taken care of. So here's some things that we have learned from installing this floor. For one thing, make sure to get your measurements correct. So obviously I measured things too quickly because I was excited about getting the floor in and ordering it right away, that I miscalculated the width of the garage. But that's okay. We were actually able to kind of save ourselves because I didn't have to pull out the countertop, which I was planning on doing that, but I figured that was kind of a waste of tiles putting the countertop over the tiles at the end there. There's really no need for it. So I actually saved myself quite a few square feet from doing that. So I was able to actually finish off the edge here, and there's maybe, I don't know, a couple of little square feet close to the edge underneath the cabinetry here, underneath the shelves. I'm not worried about that. It's covered by stuff all the time. Nothing goes under there anyway, so I'm not worried about it. What I am concerned about is making sure to button up that end there where the counter is. So I will continue to kind of work on that slowly. I might need to order an extra couple of tiles, but that's not a big deal. So overall, this floor went down in about 4 hours. And of course, we kind of took our time and made sure to measure things correctly before we did anything, but it turned out great. So the beauty of this floor is the only prep is sweeping it. That's it. Just making sure that debris is out and then lay them down. Another thing that we learned, even though these floor tiles are hardy, they can snap on you. So I'll show you what I mean. So these little tabs up here can start to bend and snap, and these little tabs here that go into those, they can also snap. If they're not put together correctly when you're laying them in and this little tab is sitting on top and you smack it down, it will snap that tab right off and then it won't lock down in place. So just be wary of that. Just be careful when you are installing them. Yeah, they are tough, but if you tweak them a little bit and they're not in the right spot and you whack with the hammer, it's going to mess things up. It can actually crack these off and mess them up. We did it to maybe 2 tiles and we learned our lesson and we made sure to line things up correctly, and that way it didn't snap off the pieces. But these were cut pieces here, which I still might be able to work around the counter there. So I got a bunch of extra pieces of these. But overall, those are just some things to keep in mind. You do need a couple of tools though. Make sure to get a mallet like this, not a regular metal hammer. That is just too harsh for the floors. You want something that is this hard rubber that's not going to damage anything, and a wide base here too. The metal hammers, the point of contact is a little bit too small. A nice large mallet like this is perfect. Also make sure to get some really good razor blades. You can actually slice the tile and cut it, and especially around all these little areas. You can just mark it and slice it very carefully. Make sure your blades are sharp. Also make sure to use cutlass gloves. So I sliced my finger here from, well, actually something unrelated to this, but I made sure to wear my cutlass gloves when cutting this stuff here because it is hardy and you're going to be putting a lot of pressure and cutting through it. So make sure to have gloves as well. Another good thing to have is either a T-square or some sort of a right angle metal tool. This is going to help you with cuts because hopefully your garage is going to be as square as possible. I think this one is maybe 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch off square wise, but that's not a big deal. You can make those cuts accordingly as you go down the line of the wall here. But make sure to have one of these tools as well. This will help you to make nice, straight, clean cuts. Now you can cut these tiles with a table saw or a skill saw, a jigsaw. They will cut, but make sure that those blades are nice and sharp. And even when they are sharp, this stuff is just so hardy that when you're cutting it, it actually generates a lot of heat and it doesn't feel like it wants to cut through right away. So what it does here, so it does kind of like melt it when you're cutting. That could be due to maybe just crappy blades that are not as sharp. But again, this stuff is extremely tough. And when cutting it, just be very, very careful. Go slow and the cuts will be fine. They'll be precise. But just be wary that it is like chunky back here and the blades don't like that. So it'll cause a lot of heat and it might melt the plastic as well. So be wary of that. So those are just a few things to keep in mind when you are installing this tile. Other than that, the install is pretty easy and much better than putting an epoxy floor down. It's done one day. I was actually planning to do it this weekend and taking 2 whole days to do it, but I was getting a little anxious and it was sitting here with the boxes and I had customers that were going to be dropping off their vehicles here. I wanted it out of the way and I ran out of storage. So I just took half the day. So we did a mobile job in the morning and then we came back and we started this around 3 o'clock or so and we were done around 6:37. So roughly 4 hours. Not bad at all. And now it's done. So now I just need to get a mop and make sure to mop the area when it does get wet in here and dirty, and that's it. So we'll see how it holds up. For those of you worried about using a wheelie stool on the floor, yeah, it works just fine. Even all of my little carts here that I have on wheels, oops, that one's locked. There we go. Yeah, they work just fine. The diamond plate on the flooring is low enough, it's flat enough where everything rolls over it just fine. Actually a lot easier than over the concrete. So yeah, there's not a problem with anything rolling on the floor here. It is great. Now, this is the second vehicle that we've had pulled into the garage. It's a huge Denali. And again, has no problems on the flooring whatsoever. And the beauty of this also, because it's raining and disgusting out, is it might get all wet and muddy in here. And usually with the concrete, that just make a big mess. Yeah, it absorbs it into the concrete and it eventually dries, but then you're left with mud and dust on there that you have to vacuum that up or sweep it out, and that just makes a plume of dust. So here's what you can do. Oh, where'd our little moppy go? Here it be. Here to the B, here to the B, there to the B. All you need is a mop. So we have one of these little cheapy microfiber mops. We're gonna get a better one that we can, clean the area with. We have a dry mop we're going to have, and then a wet mop with one of those buckets that you can dunk it in the water, dunk it into this little thing and step on it and it wrings it dry. So yeah, I know, all fancy. So just with this alone, you can run it under the vehicle where the wheels are, where all the water drips, and clean everything pretty much perfectly. You can sweep everything out easily. Now you have nice clean floors. Oh, I love it. Look how easy it is to mop underneath the vehicle and clean everything up nicely. Beep, 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 beep. Cleaning crew. Just so that there's no mess. No water that piles up. There we go. Oh, cat food. Oh, a leaf. There we go. And we'll sweep that out in a moment. Any standing water like this, easy peasy. Yep. A friend built this for us. So yeah, we can just, oh, look, more wetness. Perfect. All right. Perfect. We'll just sweep that out. Now the floors are nice and clean and dry. Looks like a showroom. Now, what about it being slippery? I have to say with honesty, it's a tad slippery, of course, with water on it. A tad. So, of course, the concrete, you don't have to worry about that. You have enough texture. But it's really not that bad. It's not as bad as some people make it out to seem, that it's super, super slippery and you're going to slip down and break your hip. It's not going to happen. But just be wary of it. Just be careful. It is pretty slick. But over time, it's going to wear a little bit anyway. And not really concerned about that. So yeah, loving the floor. And I love the fact that I can use the wheelie stool. I was waiting for that. Yep. So guys, if you want to get your hands on some Racedeck flooring, different colors, different options, check out Car Supplies Warehouse. They just started carrying them, and you can also download the calculator that will help you to determine how many tiles you need, and it's pretty easy to use like I showed you. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, like it, share it with others who may enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell so you don't miss stuff. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great week.